Okay, so in a quote by Bob Marley that I found and I feel like I always live by, he says, "Money is numbers and numbers never end. And if it takes money to be happy, your search for happiness will never end." So based off of that quote, I think you guys could tell what topic I'm going to be talking about. So I'm basically going to go through why money can't bring you happiness. So my points will be why it can't bring happiness upon you and somehow fix all your problems. Materialistic items don't satisfy your emotional needs. And then how money doesn't make you immortal. So for my first point, I had found an article by Life Coach, and they say that people are happier than those that feel that they are more unsuccessful than their friends. So to basically evaluate that quote, the article sums up to being how people that focus on other people's lives tend to be unhappier because they always think that what they do isn't enough. So within a study that they had made, Life Coach, the article, they found out that people that had won a lottery, so say like the recent winner, he won the lottery, right? So his happiness would equal the happiness of someone that just got paralyzed from the waist down. So they basically explained how someone that won the lottery and got so much money, and like probably like 20 times richer than they already had, brings the same happiness as someone that is paralyzed and just can't walk. So money does not bring happiness. In another website that I found called willyoulaugh.com, there's a blog by a man named Little Chu, and someone had asked him how they recently got a new job. They make $20,000 a month, and somehow they have everything they ever could have wanted in life, but they're just not happy. And he responded by saying that wealth and fame doesn't guarantee happiness. So even if you've reached your goals in life and you feel like you can't do anything else, like you're basically satisfied with all your needs, you still like won't be happy. And then going after that, onto the same topic. If you guys have heard last year, Demi Lovato, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who she is. She had an overdose, and previously she had also suffered from bipolar disorder, depression, suicidal thoughts, and bulimia. And that was before she had all the fame and everything. So as you guys can see, like as she progressed, obviously she made more money, but her problems didn't go away. So instead of like everything going away, how people think that just because you're rich and you're wealthy, you have everything, 10 cars, a mansion, like they think that nothing can happen to you and that nothing will make you unsatisfied. But Demi Lovato is a good example of how money won't fix your problems even after you accumulate a lot. And then she also, in the same interview she had with Refinery 29, she mentioned how she was very suicidal just beginning her fame. So she started off around 7-8 years old, like off the show Barney. And then obviously she went up to music, Disney Channel and everything. And she explained how her suicidal thoughts were even more, I guess you say, powerful than they were when she was just starting off. So yeah, she basically just says that even if in her child she did suffer from everything, like becoming famous and being wealthy and being able to support her own family financially and basically getting rid of all those financial problems, her emotional needs were still not met. And then for my last point, I want to talk about my personal experience because I feel like I've gone through the same kind of thing. So last year, I was just like a new mom, you know, like I was a stay-at-home mom. And before that, obviously when I was pregnant, I didn't work. So my daughter's father obviously like maintained me, you know, like I would go to school, go home, be there, do nothing else. Like I had everything taken care of for myself. And then he got me a place. We moved in together. He supported me financially. I didn't have to worry about anything. So like all my financial needs were met, but my emotional needs weren't there. Within that time, money was never an issue. And he would bribe me. When he would see me sad, he would bribe me with materialistic things. So if I would have like an off day, he'd be like, oh, let's go shopping, or let's go buy something you want, you know, like stuff like that. But those things, even if he bought me like everything I ever wanted, even if we would like go out every day, eat, you know, like I still wasn't happy. And then once I decided to leave, even though I felt like people wouldn't leave someone after they give them everything, you know, and like not make them work or do anything. So I feel like people think that I was just kind of dumb to do that, and then obviously I would be on my own. So like a month after leaving, well, he stayed with the place and I was basically on my own with my daughter. I was homeless for like a couple weeks, and then I decided to move in with my mom again. And obviously I didn't have my own place anymore, you know, and I had to get a job. Obviously I had school in the morning, full-time job at night. I still do, but I'm saying like how I started. So everything like completely changed this year compared to last year, but this year I feel like all the emotional stress and everything kind of went away, even if it seemed like I had everything I could have wanted. Now that like I'm struggling, like even if you struggle, you can still be happy, you know? Like I feel like I'm not really into materialistic things anymore. Like I'm happy with what I have. So I feel like that's why the people that don't have the people that seem like they don't have enough are always the most happy, because they're always grateful for like everything they do have. So in conclusion, I just wanted to sum up everything up and say how just because people seem happy and successful with their money and their businesses doesn't mean their emotional needs are met and that they are happy with themselves. Also, some advice is to stop looking at other people's lives and thinking that if they have a new car or they have like the best clothes, that you shouldn't look up to other people and think that you just don't have enough and try to reach for their goals, because maybe when you do reach their goals and their level, you just might not be as happy as you were when you didn't think that you had enough. And also, always think about yourself before anything else. So your emotional needs need to be met before you think about money and like materialistic items.
All right, Richard, what'd you think?
Well, I thought the intro was kind of brief, kind of short, but you did like give your topic, that you made it clear what you were going to be talking about, and you gave the preview of your presentation, so it was pretty clear what you were going to talk about, like your main points. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, your second point, I don't know, like about a blog or something, you got from a blog. I don't know like how credible like that source was or whatever it is. Like I don't know, like the whole source credibility thing. And well, like when you gave your personal experience, I thought it was pretty cool, because like it gave you like verification, and I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty like probably not easy to say in front of people. So it was pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Oh, and then you kind of just moved around a lot. It was kind of distracting, but it was pretty cool. I mean, that's fine, you know. And yeah, well, I thought it was a decent speech.
All right, well, I like the quote at the beginning as a lead into the subject. You kind of identify what the topic is. That's pretty solid. There's a good preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. You know, when you get to the first point, though, instead of telling us what the claim is, you basically have this quote that you're going through, and it's not quite clear, you know, even though you previewed it, what it is that you're saying at that point. And I think that that's a little bit problematic. Then you've got a quote that's apparently some sort of study about lottery winners and people who are paralyzed. And I don't know how they arrived at the conclusion that people, you know, you're as happy winning the lottery as you are being paralyzed. I just don't know how they reached this conclusion. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. There's probably something there that you read that explains a little bit about what's going on, but your paraphrase of it was not very clear. So I didn't think that it helped. And Richard pointed out on the second point that, you know, we've got some blogger's opinion on this, and I don't know who this person is and why I should be listening to them. It would be like if I posted on, you know, some meme on Facebook and said, those, you know, who say money can't buy happiness don't know where to shop. So you should, you know, listen to me. You know, just because I have an opinion doesn't necessarily mean that's an opinion that's worth listening to in this situation. There's the example of Demi Lovato I thought is pretty nicely developed, and I think it's a good illustration that says, look, people can have money and they can be successful, but those are not the same things as being happy, and that there are all kinds of things that make up happiness. One of the things that's missing here from your argument is a criteria. What establishes happiness? What's your definition? What's your criteria of happiness? What is it that we are supposed to be looking at or seeking? And without that, it's a little bit hard to figure out whether or not we can achieve that. If somebody's, you know, definition of happiness is free from want, well, then money fixes that. But if your definition of happiness is free from, dependence, or free from, or the idea of satisfaction with your accomplishments or something like that, well, then money is probably less important to those particular things. But I don't really know what your criteria of happiness is. I'm sure, by the way, that there are plenty of people who make a lot of money that think of themselves as happy. I mean, I'm sure that Demi Lovato has personal issues, but I know there's a world full of people out there who got a bucket load of cash and think of themselves as being blessed and happy and, you know, successful, and the way they measure their happiness is by how successful they are. Look at, you know, how many businesses I have, how much I've acquired. Look at how well I'm able to take care of my family, what I'm going to be able to leave behind. Look at the fame that I have, you know, those, and there are plenty of people that, you know, would be counterexamples on that. And that's why I think you need to have a little bit more focus on your definition of, well, what it is that you're actually talking about there. Presentation issues, I think, you know, your voice is pretty good. Your eye contact's a little inconsistent. Look, when you start talking about your own experience, that's when we ought to be able to connect with you a little bit more. But because it is your own experience, I think you feel a little self-conscious about it, and you have a tendency to kind of, you know, you're talking up to the ceiling sort of thing. And I understand that, you know, because it might be tough to be direct about that. There's an emotional element to what you're talking about there, and maybe if you look at people, you're going to get overwhelmed with that emotion. I understand that feeling, but I do think that you need to kind of compensate a little bit, and you need to be a little bit more confident. And maybe that would be the definition of happiness: confidence enough to speak directly to people. You know, I think people should think of themselves as happy if they can stand up and effectively express their ideas in front of an audience. That's the kind of thing that I think would make people happy. You know, and that, yeah, and I'm trying to help people do those kinds of things. And not worry about the other things, you know, too much. You know, everybody's going to have imperfections. Let's not fret about all of the imperfections. Let's do the best we can, work on our imperfections, and get better. And to me, that's a good definition of those sorts of things. So, you know, it's kind of a general value argument that you're making. It's got a little bit of platitudes here and there. You've got some personal experience. You've got one good example. But how generalizable it is, I think, is problematic. And like I said, there are a couple of places where there's some problems with the information that you've got. All right, thank you.